Coverage you can count on. Way 31 News starts now. This is
My
Breaking
fellow
News.
Alabamians, I offer my heartfelt apologies for my participation in something from 52 years ago.
We begin with breaking news. Governor Kay Ivey has apologized for her role in a skit involving blackface during her time at Auburn University in the 60s. Thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman.
And I'm Dan Schaefer. Now, this story surfaced in February after the university's student newspaper uncovered photos of past students in blackface. This photo appeared in the yearbook page for Governor Ivey's sorority. She is not in this photo, but she is listed as a member. Now we have a recording of Ivey with her then-fiancé, Ben LaRavia, speaking with the student radio station. He recalls Ivey and her sorority sisters participating in the skit.
As I look at my fiancée across the room, I can see her that night. She had on a pair of blue coveralls, and she had put some black paint all over her face, and she was, we were acting out this skit. It did not require a lot of talent. As far as verbal talent, but it did require a lot of physical acting, and such as crawling around on the floor looking for cigar butts and things like this, which certainly got a big reaction out of the audience.
52 years later, Governor Ivey says that is not who I am today.
In a statement, she says, I still don't recall ever dressing up in overalls or blackface. I will not deny what is the obvious. The governor also released a video statement saying while she regrets her role back then, Alabama is now a much different place.
I will do all I can going forward to help show the nation that the Alabama of today is a far cry from the Alabama of the 1960s.
I called Governor Kay Ivey's deputy press secretary and requested a phone interview to answer additional questions that we have. Her press secretary, Gina Mayola, told me she would not do a phone interview but would answer my questions by email. She said in response that Governor Kay Ivey does not recall the incident or anything like it, and because she loves everyone in this state, she felt it was important that she take complete ownership for her participation in what she describes as very regrettable. She goes on to say, anyone who knows Kay Ivey knows that she is the most willing public servant to step up at a time when Alabama needs leadership. She has demonstrated that not only since day one as governor, but also in her years of service. She did not, however, respond to my questions regarding how this might affect future business prospects for our state, how she will respond to requests to step down from her position, or what she has done throughout her tenure to improve race relations in the state of Alabama.
Robinson Smith here at the Breaking News Center, and we're also reaching out to community leaders both here in the Tennessee Valley as well as around the state to Governor Ivey's comments. We're hearing back from Representative Mike Ball in the last 20 minutes or so saying that he has not seen any evidence of that Governor Ivey is harboring racist attitudes today, and we can throw up a part of his conversation with me to the full screen. He said also in part, quote, "It's horrible that it was accepted back then, and I'm glad we've gotten to the point where it's not, but forgiveness and grace and redemption, what about that? That's important too. There's more important things than finger pointing all the time."
Thanks, Will. And I talked to our Way 31 political analysts. They're weighing in on this scandal a short time ago. Conservative Dale Jackson told us Governor Ivey needs to go. Democrat Dexter Strong said she can make this up to the people.
You can't pretend that you don't remember something like this and then say you're going to do better. Just don't buy it. And if she doesn't actually remember it, she needs to go too because she's losing her mind.
If she really wants to atone for what she did, she should take seriously the conditions of marginalized groups and put forward a policy agenda that says, I no longer am that person.
Right around the time this surfaced, you might recall Virginia's governor was in a very similar situation. Democrat Ralph Northam was under fire after a picture from his 1984 college yearbook showed a man in blackface and a man in a Ku Klux Klan robe. Governor Northam has denied he was either person in these photos. He has refused to step down from office. Way 31 is reaching out to several elected officials and community leaders. As we get their responses, we will bring them to you on air and online. And you can find everything that we've learned so far by going to waytv.com. This story is listed as breaking news at the top of our page.
This afternoon, we are getting our first look at damage left behind by the storm that Hurricane Dorian hit the U.S. Virgin Islands. You can see trees were knocked down along roadways by the Strong gusty winds, power crews are now focusing on returning electricity to the island.
We are bringing you team coverage as this storm inches closer to the U.S. WAAY 31's Will Robinson-Smith is at our breaking news desk. But first we begin with WAAY 31 Chief Meteorologist Kate McKenna. She joins us in the Storm Tracker Weather Center with what the U.S. can expect from this storm.
I want to give you an idea here of Dorian's most recent location. And if you're looking at just the center of the storm here, that's about 766 miles away from Miami. So tracking that arrival there on the east coast of Florida. We've been talking an awful lot about the wind. We still expect Dorian to strengthen to a Category 4 storm before it moves onshore with those maximum sustained winds at 130 miles per hour. But we've also got to talk about the rain. Now, most locations in Florida are at a surplus for the rainfall for the past couple of months. So this is not rain that Florida especially needs right now, but some locations, especially just north of Miami, in between Miami and Jacksonville, right in the center there, 7 to 10 inches of rain coming over the next 7 days or so. And it looks like Dorian's going to take this very slow drag up the east coast, so bringing those similar rainfall totals to other locations farther north. So watching those rain forecasts in addition to the wind forecast coming along with Hurricane Dorian.
Thanks, Kate. Puerto Rico avoided a direct hit this time, but they know hurricane season is far from over. Federal emergency management agencies and local municipalities were prepared for the storm. The governor said, quote, "Thank God we were not affected." This was the first test for the island since Hurricane Maria hit back in 2017. More than 3,000 people died. The island is still recovering from that impact.
WAAY 31's Will Robinson-Smith joins us now from the Breaking News Center. He's been following the latest updates on this storm as they come in. Will, what is the newest information you can tell us?
Well, in a Rose Garden address, President Trump announced that he is going to be delaying his trip to Poland, instead sending the Vice President Mike Pence in his stead. He said in part, quote, that it's very important for him to stay in the United States, saying that his highest priority is the safety of the people in the path of Hurricane Dorian.
Storm preparations are in full swing across the entire state of Florida. Here is a look at the empty shelves at a Walmart in Port Orange. Most of them, as you see, already cleared. Stores are having trouble keeping bread, water, food, and toiletries in stock as people stockpile several days' worth of supplies. People are also storm prepping at the pump. At Port St. Lucia, lines for gas this morning were so long at one gas station, workers had to direct traffic. Parts of the parking lot were blocked off so nobody could cut in line.
Hurricane Dorian prep isn't just clogging up roads, it's also causing travel issues on the ocean and in the air. Airlines are watching the storm closely and are worried about how it's going to impact their travel schedules. 9 airlines are offering travel waivers now for passengers who might be impacted by the storm. So far, all of the flight cancellations were in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Cruise ships are also changing course. 12 ships have changed their itineraries to get around the storm, impacting tens of thousands of vacationers. NASA also taking notice. Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral is preparing for the worst. Here's video of NASA moving the mobile launcher off its pad and into a safe building. The launch pad will help propel the Space Launch System being deployed at the developed at the Marshall Space Flight Center into space for the Artemis program. NASA is also expected to keep the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex closed Sunday and Monday.
North Alabama is also getting ready to lend a hand to communities that will brave the storm. The Decatur Church of Christ is already accepting donations to help people in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. Coming up on WAAY 31 News at 5, we're going to talk to those collecting donations about their plans and what you can do to help.
Well, Robinson-Smith here in the Breaking News Center. Within the past 35 minutes and that Rose Garden address I mentioned when the president addressed Dorian, he was also there principally to talk about the signing and establishing of the U.S. Space Command. The signing ceremony lasted about 10 minutes or so, and if we can actually throw to my laptop here, we also have the official symbol for the U.S. Space Command that has been created. You see that right there on your screen. The U.S. Space Command will be temporarily headquartered at Colorado Springs at Peterson AFB. A permanent home has not been announced. However, Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle also weighed in. If we can go to his statement there, you see in part he said, quote, Blue Origin, ULA, and Aerojet Rocketdyne are producing rockets in the Rocket City to ensure America has unfettered access to space. It is the smart choice. It is the right choice to have U.S. Space Command here.
This afternoon, we have confirmed Huntsville's largest housing authority property could soon close. A school board member tells WAAY 31 they were told yesterday the Governor's Drive property will shut down. We sent Way 31 Sierra Phillips to get information from the city about when that will happen and what the plan is for the residents who live there.
Right now, rumors here at Butler Terrace are circling of a possible shutdown. While most people I talked to told me they've heard about the possibility, they aren't sure what's next. I spent the day trying to find out.
It would be devastating.
In the last month, Jack Anderson says he picked up a maintenance job at Butler Terrace. He says he's concerned about the possibility of closure.
I hope they would hold on to some of the employees that are working here.
Sale Mitchell says the public housing development is dangerous and shutting it down could be a good thing.
It ain't fun for the kids no more. The kids can't play in peace.
Huntsville City School Board member Michelle Watkins told me the board was informed of the closure during a hearing with a federal judge on the district's desegregation measures. A closure would impact the district because more than 300 residents and their children would have to relocate. Students who live here could end up in different zones. I tried to get answers from the Huntsville Housing Authority and the mayor's office. When I stopped by the Housing Authority office near Butler Terrace, a youth service representative told me Butler Terrace is not closing and directed me to their press representative. I've left a message with that representative but haven't heard back. I then reached out to city spokesperson Kelly Scrimshire, who directed me back to the Housing Authority. She did tell me the authority has applied for a grant that would give them money to rebuild some public housing. I asked Mitchell where his family would go if Butler Terrace closed down.
I don't know. I don't know for real.
In Huntsville, Sierra Phillips, Way 31 News.
The Housing Authority is already in the process of shutting down Sparkman homes. More than 100 families with school-aged children live there and have been given vouchers to find other places to live. Coming up, Way 31's getting ready for the countdown to college football kickoff for Alabama teams this weekend. We'll take you to Dallas and Atlanta to see how Auburn and Alabama are preparing for their first games of the season.
We are still tracking very close.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 News with Dan Shaver, Naja Sherman, Chief Meteorologist Kate McKenna, and Lyndon Blake with sports.